So it's a beautiful Saturday afternoon and the quarantine is still in full effect. So I thought it would be quite a good time to film the first meditation practice. Before we start, there are some things that you should know about kind of preliminary awareness regarding meditation. So we'll run through those and then we'll do a short 5-minute meditation. It's important to recognise or realise that the purpose of meditation, or this specific meditation, will be stillness. And when we think about stillness, it's easy to start to imagine that means something that's not moving. But in this case, that's not necessarily what is meant. When we're talking about stillness, we're talking about stillness through relaxation, not stillness through tension. For example, I could sit here and tense my whole body and keep it really still, but that won't help you develop any kind of internal harmony. So when we're talking about stillness, we're talking about stillness through relaxation. So the idea is that we're going to allow the mechanical processes within the body to function. Kind of like if you imagine the sun and then the planets kind of orbiting the sun, or the earth around the moon around the earth. If we were to look at that whole picture, every planet is doing its own orbit, and every moon around whichever planet, whether it's the moons of Jupiter or the moon on Earth, and they've got their own thing going on, and it's kind of synchronistic. It's a well-oiled machine, something like a Swiss watch. This is how I feel when I'm finally fully relaxing to meditation, is that there's lots of different processes going on within the body, and my awareness is there, kind of just observing that, allowing that to do its thing. So in order to get to that place, we have to first use the mind and use our kind of command center to try and assist to that process. So the first thing you kind of want to think about is your belly here, the abdomen, you know. Most people will hold tension in this area, and it's kind of like constricted, you know, and the lungs travel all the way down. So first thing you want to do is kind of like relax your belly, as if at the end of the day, if you've had jeans on all day and you open that top button, you know, and that kind of that's a really important part of the process. And when we're breathing, we're actually breathing into that space. So we're not forcing the breath into that area, but when we're breathing, as we breathe in, we're filling up the body, we're filling up the gut here, you know. And so as we breathe in and out, that should rise and fall naturally. A lot of people will hold tension and they breathe into their chest. And if you breathe into your chest for even a few seconds, you'll start to notice that there's a sense of panic that ensues. And so what we're aiming to do is allow the body to come into a fully relaxed way of being. Kind of like when you're sleeping, but in this case we're not going to allow ourselves to cross that barrier into the full sleep state, we're going to be in a meditative state or an alpha wave. So if you remember the brain waves, most normal people are in the logical problem solving mode, which is the beta waves. And the alpha waves are the resonance in nature. And then below that there are delta waves and gamma waves, and there's even deeper ones than that. And those are the sleep state. That's what they say. But for the purpose of this meditation, the aim is to get into the alpha state. And so yeah, you release the core, release the abdomen here, fully relax that, and we're breathing into there. The next thing that's important is to relax the jaw. A lot of people will hold tension in their jaw. This kind of like tightness in here, and a lot going on upstairs, especially with phones and technology, and when you're in the eyes and you're using the eyes to perceive the screen, it's all up here, and often this tension in the jaw will start to manifest, and that's closely related to this tension in the not breathing fully, so breathing into the chest and the wiry kind of mindset. So we're releasing here, we're relaxing the jaw, and also we're relaxing the shoulders. If you think about like the jaw being tense and then the shoulders being tense, and then breathing into the chest, this is kind of where most people seem to operate from. And if you sit in a public space and just watch people for a few minutes, you will see that people carry this kind of energy around with them. It's almost like if it rains, if it rains and you get caught without an umbrella or a jacket, and your shoulders go up like this, and it's your body's doing this to conserve the heat and to keep itself kind of protected. But if you notice, like when you go home, even after you're being at home and things loosen up, you can quite often like feel that kind of residual tension there. And if you imagine that people are living like this, living in this kind of really tense, cerebral place most of the time, it takes a little bit of commitment to begin to develop new habits and ways of being. So this is the first part of the process. So we're going to release here. We're letting the breath happen naturally. We're not kind of forcing it into these areas, but what we are doing is noticing when it stops rising and falling with the in and out breath. So when you're breathing in and it rises, and breathing out and it's kind of collapsing, we're just noticing that. And if any tension comes back, then we could release it, so we could just release it. And then as we breathe, if it tenses again, we could release it. So the practice is the release. Same with the shoulders. If you feel them creeping up or doing any of this kind of stuff, the practice is to kind of just release. So it's the jaw, the shoulders, and the abdomen. Even just with this basic kind of process, immediately I start to feel more relaxed. Immediately I'm starting to feel like just chilled. The next part of the process will be to start to come into the body and tune into the senses. So the 5 kind of human senses. So the first one you want to kind of tune into is your sight, and keeping your body in this kind of relaxed position, whether you're on a chair with your back straight or you're sitting on the floor with your legs crossed. You can even be standing up with your feet sort of shoulder width apart and just your arms relaxed by your side. and you're going to bring your awareness into your sight, and you're going to look around the place, and we're going to keep your head neutral, and you're going to just find things to focus on. And this kind of focus is a soft gazed focus. So you're not looking at things and staring at with intent like a dog chasing a ball, or when a child's in a sweet shop. It's not that kind of crazed kind of focus. It's a gaze. So we're kind of scanning the environment, and we're noticing the things that we're tuning into, and we're just giving them a moment. We're allowing the eyes to function in connection with the body in a kind of natural way. The next thing we want to start to tune into is smell. We want to just take some deep breaths in through the nose. And notice what's in the environment. Maybe you could notice your own smell. Maybe you notice how cool the air is, or how warm the air is. It might be that there's something locally that the smell is carrying in the wind, and you can pick up on that. Maybe you're burning some incense. You just want to take that in for a moment. Allow this kind of sense to awaken. The next sense you want to tune into is your sense of taste. And this simply means just rolling the tongue around your mouth a couple of times in each direction. So and with that, with the nose and the mouth, immediately that brings us into the airways, and something really powerful we can do in this part of the process is follow the breath from the nose and the mouth down into the lungs, feeling the lungs expanding, and then following the breath out again. And just do that for a couple of breaths. Already I could feel like there's space being made, intercellular space that is just releasing and expanding and unlocking and loosening up. Wow. The next sense that we want to begin to tune into is the hearing. So it's important for this sense to close the eyes. So as we close the eyes, we start to tune into our hearing. And what we're going to notice is the noises or sounds in our environment. So right now I could hear some birds in the tree. I could hear someone behind me with a dog with a bell on its chain. I could hear Some traffic on a road in the distance. The wind rustling in the trees. I could hear the sea. I could hear my own breath, rising and falling, keeping my eyes closed, listening to everything that I can hear all together at the same time. You might even be able to hear your heart beating in this moment. Remember, unlock your jaw, relax your shoulders, release your belly, listening, watching the breath, rising and falling, rising and falling. Keeping your eyes closed, the next sense that we want to begin to tune into is the sense of touch. There will be a little bit of imagination used in this part of the process. So, using the imagination, keeping your eyes closed, bring your awareness above your head, at the crown of your head. Come down onto the top of your head and bring your awareness into the middle of your forehead. Scan around the top of your head as if there's a ring there, or a crown. All the way till you come back to the front. Then you want to scan down over your face. Bring your awareness into one eye and then the other. Down the front of the nose, onto the lips, chin, scanning your ears, one ear and then the other. Feeling into the back of your head, scanning down and into the base of the neck. Again, make a ring around the neck and the throat area. So start at the front, pick a direction, and you're drawing as if with a pen, you're drawing a ring around your neck. So if you imagine that there's a pen and you're following the line that the pen is making on the surface of the skin. From there we're into the shoulders. So come down one shoulder, tracing that down the back of the arm, across the tricep, into the elbow, across the forearm, into the hand, down the pinky, back up, tracing down the next finger, back up, middle finger, into the last finger, and then the thumb, coming back up the forearm, front of the arm this time, across the bicep, into the front of the shoulder, across the chest, down the other shoulder, front of the bicep, forearm. This time we're starting on the thumb, finger, middle finger, coming back up the outside of the arm to the elbow, up the back of the arm, into the rear delt in the shoulder, bringing our awareness into the center of the chest at the back. Just stay there for a few breaths. You might begin at this point to feel your heart beating. Next, we're going to bring our awareness into the front of the chest, and in a straight line we're going to draw through the centre of the body to about an inch below the belly button into the navel. This is the seat of your power as a person. This is where your breath should be channeling into at this moment. Again, make a ring around the body as if you're drawing on the body with a pen. Go in one direction, coming across the centre of the back, midway point, pausing for a moment, going on to complete the circle. Next, we're going to move down the body into the root, which is the perineum. It's in the centre between your genitals and the back passage. This is essentially the area in the body that would be where I'm sitting. You would have a root growing down like a carrot. And this is the area you want to bring your focus to, the area that's in connection with the earth. Again, if there's any tension anywhere in your body at this point, just notice how that releases easily. It's a very subtle kind of movement. Next, we're going to choose a leg to go down. So I'm going to go down my right leg first. I'm going to go down the front of the right leg, over the knee, down the front of the shin, into the foot. I'm going to do the big toe, and the next toe, third toe, fourth toe, into the little toe, up the outside and the base of the foot, up the back of the leg, up the hamstring, into the glute. And at this moment I'm going to feel my glute on the floor. I'm going to feel that physical sensation in the body. I'm going to move across the centre line of the body and into the other side, down the back of that, hamstring, back of the knee, down the calf, over the heel and up the sole of the foot, into the small toe, the next toe, middle toe, last toe, going to come up the inside of the leg to the knee and back into the root chakra or Muladhara chakra. And again, I'm just going to focus on this area between the earth and my body. I'm going to feel the earth there for a couple of breaths. Just releasing everything that you're ready to let go of. Next, you're going to bring your awareness back into that area and move up the center line of the body through the solar plexus and the navel, up through the center line into the chest and the heart space. Next, we're going to move to the pit of the throat, feeling into that area. We're going to come up the face and into the brow. So if you imagine a line drawn across your eyebrows and the center line in line with your nose, this is where we're going to end up. And you're going to bring your awareness into your sight, keeping your eyes closed. And keeping your jaw unclenched, your shoulders relaxed. Noticing the breath, natural. Your awareness is in the space behind your eyes. If you imagine that your forehead is a TV screen on the inside, that's the area that you're looking at. Staying with the breath. Okay, we're going to begin to come out of this meditation now. Slowly bring your hands together and rub them together gently. Create a little bit of friction, keeping your eyes closed. And just begin to massage your face, starting at the eyes, over the head, come down the back of the head, massaging into your cheeks, your ears, the back of your eyes. Give your forehead, waking that up a little bit. Back of the neck, give your shoulders away. Release anything that has to be released in the back. Circle the body a little bit. Give yourself a little shake. And bring your hands together in a kind of prayer position. Lower your head. Take 1 or 2 breaths. Gently open your eyes. Replace your hands. So this is the practice. This is the kind of basic body scan awareness meditation practice. And the video has gone on for a little while, but when you get into this and once you develop this as a practice and integrate it into your life as a habit, this process can be done in literally a couple of minutes. Actually, I find that I don't actually have to dedicate time to sit down by 3 to do this, although I do make time to do that. I could be in the queue for the supermarket and plant my feet and then just go through the process. Jaw, shoulders, belly, align my body. And I could be there even with my eyes open, scanning my body up and down. And I could feel areas of tension in my body and allow that to relax. I could do it when I'm driving, I could do it as I'm walking. These kind of practices can be integrated into lots of areas within your life. And even when you're using the phone, when you're checking social media, you could begin to integrate this kind of practice into your way of being. So what I'm going to suggest is that follow this practice, listen to this a couple of times, do it every day for a week. Keep a diary of how you feel before and after your meditation, and do that for a week, and then in a week I'll do another video and we'll integrate some other elements into the practice. But this is the fundamental part of the process. So good luck and keep in touch.